The night was silent, but Ethan's room was not. The old fan creaked above his head, and the city outside whispered with distant sounds. But the real noise was inside his own mind. Ethan lay on his bed, wide awake. His eyes red from exhaustion. He had not slept for 3 days. His body begged him to close his eyes. His muscles were weak, his head heavy, his vision blurry. Yet he forced himself to stay awake, because he knew what would happen if he dared to fall asleep. When he slept, they came. The first time had been just a dream, or so he thought. He had been drifting off after a long shift in the mines. The darkness had wrapped around him like a blanket. And then in the dream he had heard whispers, voices that were not human, sharp, cold voices calling his name. "Ethan, come to us." He woke up screaming, sweat pouring down his back. But that was only the beginning. The second night the voices came again. This time he saw them, shadows with glowing eyes, standing at the edge of his dream. When he opened his eyes, he found scratches on his arm, real scratches. That was when he realized the truth. These were not ordinary nightmares now. On the third night, Ethan sat on his bed holding a cup of bitter black coffee. His hands shook, his lips were dry. He whispered to himself, "If I sleep, they'll come for me. They'll take me away." His friends had laughed at him earlier. "Man, you just need some rest," they said. But they didn't see what he saw. They didn't feel the claws scraping his skin. They didn't hear the voices. The clock on the wall ticked slowly. 1 in the morning. 2 in the morning. 3 in the morning. Every minute felt like a war. His eyelids grew heavier. His body slumped. The coffee was no longer helping. And then, without realizing, his eyes closed. Darkness swallowed him at once. He found himself standing in a strange forest. The trees twisted unnaturally, their branches moving like arms. The ground was soft and wet, smelling of rot. He knew at once this was not Earth. This was the place where they lived. The place they pulled him into when he slept. From the fog the whispers returned. "Ethan! Ethan!" His heart pounded. He turned around and saw them. Shadows with long limbs, tall as towers. Their faces were blank except for glowing white eyes. One of them stretched a hand toward him, its fingers long like knives. He stumbled backward, shaking his head. "No. Stay away," he shouted, but his voice echoed weakly. The creatures laughed. A chilling sound like broken glass. Suddenly, the ground cracked beneath him. He fell, his body plunging into an endless pit. The shadows leaned over the edge, their voices growing louder. "Fall deeper. Give in to us. You are ours when you sleep." Ethan gasped and forced his eyes open. He was back in his room, lying on the floor. His heart raced like a drum, his breath shallow. But then he looked at his arm and froze. Fresh red scratches ran across his skin, exactly where the shadow's hand had touched him. He pressed his hand over the wound. It stung sharply, proving it was real. Tears formed in his tired eyes. He whispered, "I can't do this. I can't keep fighting. But if I sleep, I'll die." The night stretched endlessly. He staggered to the window and looked out. The city lights flickered in the distance. People walked on the streets, free and unaware. No one knew the war he was fighting. No one believed him. He clenched his fists and pressed his forehead to the glass. "I just need one person to believe me. One person to help me," he said softly. But deep inside, he felt something watching him even now. Even in the waking world and in the silence of his room, the whisper returned faintly. Not from his dreams this time, but from the corner of the dark room itself. "Stay awake, or we'll come for you." Ethan spun around, his eyes wide. The corner of the room was darker than it should have been. Something moved inside the shadows for the first time. He realized, maybe they were not only inside his dreams, maybe they were already here, waiting for him to fall asleep again. And the night was far from over. Ethan sat on the edge of his bed, trembling. The scratches on his arm burned like fire. He wrapped a bandage around them with shaky hands. But the cloth soon turned red. He whispered to himself, "It's real. They touched me. They're real." His apartment felt colder than usual. The shadows in the corners seemed deeper. Every flicker of the light bulb above made his chest tighten. He poured another cup of coffee, trying to keep himself awake, but his eyelids fought him. Heavy like iron, his body begged for rest. Yet he knew what rest meant: death. The night dragged on outside. The city was alive with distant hums, but Ethan's room was a cage. His ears twitched at every sound, the ticking clock, the wind rattling the window, even the creak of the floor under his feet. He felt he was not alone, and then suddenly he wasn't. From the corner of his eye, a shadow moved. Not the usual still darkness, but something alive, something crawling. Stretching upward along the wall, he froze, the mug slipping from his hand and shattering on the floor, his breath caught in his throat. Slowly, he turned his head. The shadow peeled itself from the wall, its body thin and tall, its fingers long like knives. Its eyes burned white in the dim room. It stepped closer without sound, each movement smooth and unnatural. Ethan's heart pounded. No, I'm awake. You can't be here if I'm awake, he shouted, but the creature only tilted its head. The whisper came chilling and soft. Awake or asleep? We come for you. Ethan stumbled back, knocking over his chair. The creature lunged, its hand slashing toward him. He ducked, the air slicing past his face, leaving a burning line on his cheek. He scrambled for anything to use as a weapon. His hand found the broken mug handle, sharp like glass. He held it up with shaking hands. Stay back, he cried, but the shadow only laughed, a sound like wind through broken glass. It moved again, fast, too fast. Ethan swung wildly, the sharp handle striking the creature's arm. To his shock, it let out a shriek that rattled the walls. The limb dissolved into smoke before forming again. For a moment, Ethan realized they were not untouchable. But they were far from weak. The shadow slammed into him, sending him crashing against the wall. His ribs screamed with pain. He gasped, coughing, but forced himself to crawl away. The creature leaned down, its face inches from his. Whispers filled his ears. Fall asleep. Let us take you. Your fear feeds us. Ethan closed his eyes for 1 second, and the world flickered. Suddenly, he was back in the twisted forest from his dreams. The shadow stood taller here, surrounded by others, dozens of glowing eyes in the fog. They reached for him, chanting his name. Ethan! Ethan! He screamed and forced his eyes open again. Back in his room, on the floor, the shadow still looming. He realized the truth. They could pull him into their world even when he was awake. If his body was weak enough, with a desperate cry, he grabbed the lamp from his nightstand and smashed it into the creature's chest. Light exploded, shards flying everywhere. The shadow recoiled, hissing as if burned. It staggered back, melting into the corner of the room. Then with a final whisper, it dissolved into smoke and vanished. Ethan lay on the floor, chest heaving, blood dripping from his arm and cheek. His room was silent again, but the silence was worse than the noise. He knew this was no longer just a nightmare. The shadows were crossing into reality, and tonight had been their first true attack. As he sat trembling in the broken glass, his phone buzzed suddenly. The sound almost made him scream. He picked it up with shaking hands. A message glowed on the screen. From an unknown number, the words chilled him more than the creature's whisper. We know you are awake, Ethan. You cannot stay awake forever. Ethan's breath hitched, his eyes wide with terror. If they could attack his dreams, and now his waking world, where could he run? And who, if anyone, would believe him? Ethan did not leave his apartment the next day. His body was sore, his face still marked with scratches. Every shadow in the corners made him nervous. Every flicker of the lights made him expect the creatures to return. He sat with his back against the wall, holding a broken piece of glass in his hand like a weapon. He had not slept for 4 days now. The phone with the strange message lay on the table. He stared at it, his mind full of questions. Who sent it? Were they part of the shadows or someone else watching him? By evening, his strength was gone, his head spun, his hands trembled. He thought he saw movement near the window. At first, he thought it was another shadow, but then he noticed something strange. The figure outside was not dark and shapeless. It was solid, small, and glowing faintly blue in the night light. Ethan blinked, rubbed his eyes, and stood up slowly. The figure raised its hand and tapped on the glass. Tap, tap, tap. His heart raced. Not again, he whispered, but when he opened the window, the figure stepped inside with soft grace. It was a girl, but not human. Her skin was pale with a faint glow, almost like moonlight. Her eyes were large and silver, shining in the dim room. Her hair fell long and thin like threads of light. She looked fragile, yet there was something powerful about her. Ethan stumbled back, gripping his glass shard tighter. Stay away, he shouted, but the girl lifted her hand slowly. Palms open. I am not here to hurt you, she said, her voice soft and strange. I came to warn you. Ethan froze. She spoke English. but with a rhythm unlike humans, his chest rose and fell quickly. You know about them? The shadows? He asked. The girl's eyes softened. They are not shadows. They are called the Vorun, she whispered. They live in the layer between your world and mine. They feed on fear. And when humans dream, their minds open a door to that layer. Ethan's hands shook. You mean, I wasn't crazy? I wasn't imagining them? The girl shook her head slowly. No, you are not crazy. They are real and they are hunting you. For the first time in days, Ethan felt tears burning his eyes, not just of fear, but of relief. Someone finally believed him. He dropped the glass shard and slumped into the chair, his voice cracked. Why me? Why are they after me? The girl stepped closer, her glow lighting the dark room. Because you resist them, she said. Most humans do not fight when the Vorun attack their dreams. They fall and they are consumed, but you fight. Your will makes you dangerous to them. Ethan shook his head. I can't keep fighting. I haven't slept in days. I can't hold on much longer. The girl placed her glowing hand gently on his shoulder. Her touch was warm, calming. You must not give in, she said firmly. If you fall, they will not only take you, they will open the way for more of them to enter your world. Ethan's eyes widened. You mean they can come here? To Earth? The girl nodded. They already are. Last night was only their first step. The words hit him like ice. If the Vorun could cross fully, not just into his dreams, but into reality, humanity would never be ready for them. Ethan swallowed hard. Who are you? He asked. The girl hesitated, then lowered her head. My name is Lyra, she said softly. I am not human. My people once fought the Vorun long ago. We lost many, but I survived, and I was sent here to find someone like you. Someone like me? Ethan frowned. Lyra nodded. Someone whose mind resists. Only humans have the strength to fight them now. But you cannot do it alone. You need me. And I need you. Ethan stared at her, his chest heavy with exhaustion and fear. A part of him wanted to push her away, to shut his eyes and let it all end. But another part, the same part that had kept him fighting every night, knew she was right. If he gave up, it would not just be his life lost. The Vorun would spread. They would take more than just him. Lyra's silver eyes locked with his. Ethan, listen to me. You are stronger than you think. But if you sleep without me near, they will take you. Stay awake a little longer, trust me, and I will show you how to fight them properly. Ethan took a deep, shaky breath. For the first time since the nightmare began, he felt a spark of hope. A strange ally had entered his life. But whether she was truly his salvation or another danger, he would soon find out. The night was heavy with silence. Ethan sat on the couch. His head leaning against the wall. Beside him stood Lyra, glowing faintly like a lantern in the dark. Her silver eyes never blinked, always scanning the shadows around the room. Ethan felt his chest tighten with every tick of the clock. It was almost midnight, the hour when the Vorun grew strongest. I don't know if I can keep this up, Ethan muttered. His voice cracked from exhaustion. Lyra placed her hand on his shoulder. Calm and steady. You must, she replied. They will come tonight. I can feel them. The Vorun never stop once they mark someone. They will hunt you until they own you or until you destroy them. Ethan swallowed hard. Destroy them? I could barely survive one. You are not alone now, Lyra said firmly. Her glow brightened slightly as if to prove her words true. The air in the room suddenly shifted. A cold draft swept through, though the windows were closed. The lights flickered. Ethan felt his skin crawl. They're here, he whispered. Lyra nodded slowly. Stay close to me. Do not lose focus. From the corners of the room, the shadows began to stir. They crawled up the walls like living ink. Their glowing white eyes opened one by one. 5, then 10, then more. Ethan's breath caught in his throat. His mind screamed at him to run, but his legs refused to move. The Vorun slid out of the darkness. Tall and twisted, their whispers filled the room, sharp and endless. Ethan, give in. Come with us. Ethan covered his ears, but the whispers drilled into his skull. Make it stop, he shouted. Lyra stepped forward, raising her glowing hands. A pulse of light burst from her palms. The nearest Vorun hissed and staggered back, its form flickering. They fear light, she said, her voice steady. Stay in my glow. Do not leave it. The creatures circled, staying just beyond Lyra's light. Their long arms reached in, clawing at the edges. Ethan felt panic rising inside him. How long can you hold them back? Lyra's jaw tightened. Not forever. We must move. They will not let you rest here again. They will hunt us wherever we go. As if hearing her, one Vorun suddenly lunged forward. It slammed into the coffee table, shattering it into pieces. Ethan stumbled back as claws swiped inches from his face. Lyra grabbed his wrist, pulling him toward the door. Run, she ordered. The two burst out of the apartment. Into the dark hallway, the lights above flickered wildly. Shadows stretched unnaturally long, chasing them along the walls. Ethan's lungs burned as he sprinted. Behind him, the whispers grew louder. Sleep, Ethan. Surrender. We are waiting. They reached the stairwell, their footsteps echoing. Ethan nearly tripped on the steps, but Lyra's grip kept him steady. Her glow lit the path. Pushing back the creeping darkness, still the Vorun followed. Their glowing eyes appeared on every floor, crawling on walls, sliding through cracks. It was like the whole building was alive with them. They're everywhere. Ethan gasped. Yes, Lyra said through clenched teeth. They want you badly, but that means you have something they fear. They burst through the front doors into the cold night air. The street was empty, eerily quiet. The street lights above flickered as if fighting against the same darkness. The shadows followed them outside. Dozens of glowing eyes filled the alleyways. Their whispers echoed through the night. Nowhere to run, Ethan. Nowhere to hide. Ethan bent over, gasping for air. I can't keep running. Lyra knelt beside him, her glow dimming as exhaustion touched her too. She whispered, You must hold on a little longer. I need to take you to a safe place. There are places they cannot reach. Ethan lifted his head, desperate. Where? She looked toward the horizon, her silver eyes sharp. The old tunnels beneath the city, deep underground. Their reach is weaker there. Ethan's heart pounded. The idea of crawling into dark tunnels terrified him, but the glowing eyes closing in from every direction left no choice. He nodded weakly. Fine. Lead the way. Lyra helped him to his feet. Her hand glowed brighter again, forming a protective shield of light around them. The Vorun hissed, slamming against it but unable to break through. For now, they were safe, but Ethan could feel their hunger pressing closer with every step. The hunt had truly begun. And he knew one thing with chilling certainty. The shadows would never stop chasing him, not until one side was destroyed. The tunnels beneath the city were cold and damp. Ethan's footsteps echoed as he followed Lyra deeper underground. The air smelled of rust and water, and every drop from the ceiling made him flinch. He had never been so far below. But Lyra moved as if she had walked these paths many times before. Finally, they reached a wide chamber lit only by the faint blue glow from Lyra's body. Ethan leaned against the wall, his chest heaving. He had not slept in 5 days. His body was on the edge of collapse, but he knew if he let go, the Vorun would take him. The whispers of their hunt still rang in his ears, even here in the deep. Lyra sat cross-legged in the middle of the chamber. Her silver eyes closed as she breathed deeply. Ethan watched her in silence until he could not hold it anymore. Tell me the truth, he said, his voice shaking. What are they? What do they want from me? Lyra opened her eyes slowly, her glow flickering. The Vorun are not born in your world, she said. They live in the dream world, a place between life and death. It is not a dream like you humans think. It is a dimension, a prison of shadows where they feed on the fears of other beings. Ethan's jaw tightened. And when I sleep, I open the door to that prison? Lyra nodded. Every dream opens a door. Most humans close it again without even knowing, but you opened the door wider. Your fear made them see you. And now they want to use you. If they take you completely, they will anchor themselves into your world from then on. No one will be safe. Ethan sank down to the ground. His head in his hands, he whispered. Then I'm the reason they're here? Because I was afraid? Lyra leaned forward and shook her head. No, Ethan, do not blame yourself. They were always searching for a way through. You just happened to resist longer than others. Your resistance made you a beacon, and that is why I was sent. Ethan looked up sharply. You said that before. That you were sent to find me, but why me? Why humans at all? You said your people fought them. Why can't your people stop them now? For the first time, Lyra's eyes dimmed with sadness. My people fought them long ago. We had light, strong enough to burn the Vorun, but the war broke us. The Vorun destroyed our cities, our skies. Only a few of us survived. Scattered across stars, we are too few now, but humans. Humans are different, your minds are unpredictable. You can resist the pull of fear longer than most, and that resistance is a weapon. Ethan shook his head, frustrated. I'm no soldier. I'm just me. I'm not strong. I'm barely holding together. Lyra touched his arm, her glow calming the panic in his chest. You are stronger than you know. The fact you are alive after 5 nights proves it. Ethan's throat felt dry. So what now? Do I keep running forever? Keep drinking coffee until my body breaks? Lyra's gaze turned sharp. No, running will not save you. There is only one way to stop them. You must go into the dream world willingly. You must face them on their ground and destroy their leader. Ethan froze. The thought of stepping willingly into that twisted world made his stomach churn. He had seen only glimpses, and already it nearly broke his mind. He whispered, if I go in, what if I don't come back? Lyra did not look away. Then the Vorun win, and your world falls with you. The chamber went silent. Ethan stared at the cracks in the wall. Hearing only the faint drip of water, he wanted to run, to deny it all. But deep inside, he knew she was right. Every night the shadows grew bolder. Soon they would not need his dreams to cross. Soon they would walk the streets freely. And no one would stop them. He clenched his fists. His voice low but firm. Then show me how. Show me how to fight them in their own world. Lyra's silver eyes glowed brighter. She reached into the folds of her glowing garment and pulled out a small crystal. The crystal pulsed with a soft blue light. This will guide you. It will open the path to the dream world without letting them drag you fully. But it will not protect you once inside. That will be up to your will and your courage. Ethan took the crystal in his hands. It was warm, vibrating faintly as if alive. The weight of it felt heavier than stone. It was the weight of a choice. Stay awake forever until his body died, or face the Vorun in their own kingdom of fear. He looked at Lyra, her silver eyes steady, full of both warning and hope. And for the first time since the nightmare began, Ethan whispered words he never thought he would say. Then take me into the dream world. Let's finish this. Ethan sat in the cold tunnel, the crystal glowing faintly in his palm. Lyra knelt in front of him, her silver eyes calm but serious. This is it, she whispered. Once you hold the crystal and close your eyes, the door will open. But you must remember one thing, fear is their weapon, but also their weakness the more you resist. The weaker they become. Ethan's throat felt dry. He nodded slowly, gripping the crystal tighter. His body was shaking from exhaustion. 5 nights without sleep had pushed him to the edge. But now he had no choice. He closed his eyes, the crystal pulsed. Warm then burning hot, and the world around him shattered. Darkness swallowed everything. When he opened his eyes again, he was standing in the dream world. The twisted forest stretched endlessly. The sky above was black, filled with cracks of white light. The ground pulsed as if alive. He heard whispers all around. Ethan, Ethan, finally. Dozens of Vorun surrounded him. Their tall, twisted shapes circled like wolves, their glowing eyes fixed on him with hunger. Ethan raised his fists, though he had no weapon. I'm not afraid of you, he shouted. His voice trembled, but he forced the words out. The Vorun hissed, stepping back slightly. Lyra's words echoed in his mind. Fear made them strong. Courage made them weak. Suddenly, the crowd of shadows parted. From the fog, a larger figure emerged, taller than the rest, its body thicker. Its eyes burned brighter. Its voice shook the ground. I am the first Vorun, the Eater of Dreams, the King of Shadows. The other Vorun bowed as the leader stepped closer. Its voice slithered into Ethan's mind. You cannot win, human. You are weak. You are tired. You will sleep forever in my cage. Ethan's knees trembled. The leader's presence was heavier than anything he had felt. His chest tightened, his breathing short for a moment. He wanted to collapse, to give in. But he remembered Lyra's words. He clenched his fist tighter. No. I've survived this long because I fight, and I'll fight you too. The first Vorun roared. The sound like thunder cracking. It lunged at him, its massive claws tearing the ground. Ethan dove aside, rolling to his feet. He grabbed a sharp rock from the forest floor and swung. The rock slashed through one of the creature's arms. The Vorun shrieked as black smoke burst from the wound. The other shadows hissed, stepping back. Ethan's chest swelled with sudden courage. They can be hurt, he shouted. He attacked again, swinging wildly. Each strike sent bursts of smoke into the air. The leader staggered but did not fall. It laughed, a chilling, broken laugh. Strike me all you want, human. Your strength is nothing without fear, and you are still afraid. The forest shifted. Ethan blinked, and suddenly he was standing in his own apartment. But it was wrong. The walls dripped with shadow. The ceiling bent downward. On his bed lay his own body. Asleep? The leader leaned close, whispering, "This is your truth, Ethan. You are only a man, tired, broken. Soon you will close your eyes and never wake again." Ethan's chest tightened. Tears stung his eyes. He wanted to scream, but then he saw something else. A faint blue light glowing near the corner. Lyra's crystal still pulsing. Her voice echoed faintly. "Do not believe their lies. Ethan, stand, fight!" He wiped his tears, his fear turning into fire. He grabbed the crystal from the floor. It burned in his hand, filling his body with light. The leader hissed, stepping back. The shadows around screamed, covering their eyes. Ethan held the crystal high. "I am not yours. This ends now." Light burst out of the crystal, blinding white, tearing through the darkness. The leader shrieked, its body splitting. The Varun dissolved into smoke one by one. The forest shook, the sky cracked. The whole dream world trembled as if collapsing. The first Varun screamed one last time. "This is not the end, human. We will return. When you sleep again." Then it dissolved into nothing. The forest vanished, the darkness shattered. Ethan gasped and opened his eyes. He was back in the tunnel, Lyra kneeling beside him. Her silver glow brighter than ever. "You did it," she whispered. "You faced him and survived." Ethan's body collapsed into her arms, his eyes heavy with real sleep this time. But before drifting off, he whispered, "If I dream again, will they come back?" Lyra looked at him quietly. Her glow dimmed a little, and though she gave no answer, her silence was enough to remind him. The battle was won, but the war was far from over. Ethan woke slowly, his body heavier than stone. The tunnel ceiling above him swayed in his blurred vision. Lyra's silver glow was the first thing he saw clearly. She was sitting beside him, her eyes locked on his face. "You're alive," she whispered, relief soft in her voice. Ethan pushed himself up, his muscles screaming. His chest still burned from the battle. His hands trembled as he touched the crystal lying next to him. The faint blue light had dimmed. "Like a candle almost out, did I really win?" he asked, his voice weak. Lyra tilted her head. "You defeated their leader. For now, the Vorun cannot cross fully into this world." Her words gave him hope. But then her gaze lowered. "But they are not destroyed, Ethan. The dream world still exists, and as long as it does, they will always try to return." Ethan leaned back against the wall, closing his eyes for a moment. The weight of her words pressed on his chest. It wasn't over. Not truly. He had fought, he had survived. But this was only the first war in a much longer fight. Lyra reached out, brushing the cut on his cheek with gentle fingers. "You held strong," she said softly. "Most would have given up long ago, but you stood when fear tried to break you. That is why you lived." Ethan gave a tired laugh. "Lived? I feel half dead." He looked at her, his eyes serious. "How long can I keep this up? I can't stay awake forever, sooner or later. I'll have to sleep again." The tunnel grew quiet. Only the dripping of water echoed. Lyra did not answer right away. Her silence was heavy. Finally, she said, "When you sleep again, they may return, but now you know how to fight. And you are not alone anymore." Ethan's throat tightened. He remembered the moment the first Vorun dissolved, the way its voice still echoed in his ears. "We will return when you sleep again." The words haunted him even now. He looked at the dim crystal in his hand. It was warm, still alive but weak. Maybe it would help again, or maybe next time it would fail. Lyra shifted closer. "Ethan, listen to me. Your courage is not only for yourself. If they return, others will need you. Your world will need you." He stared at her glowing face. Half of him wanted to argue, to say he was just an ordinary man. Not a hero, not a soldier, but the other half knew she was right. He had been chosen not by destiny but by survival, and survival had made him something more. He clenched his fists, his voice low. "Then I'll fight again, no matter how many times they come. I'll fight until I can't anymore." For a moment, Lyra smiled, the first real smile he had seen on her face. "You sound like one of my people," she whispered. Her glow brightened, filling the chamber with light. Ethan felt his body sink into calm for the first time in days. His muscles loosened, his eyelids heavy. Real sleep was pulling him down. "No," he whispered weakly. He tried to keep his eyes open, but his body was done. It had reached the limit. He looked at Lyra in panic. If I sleep now, they'll come back. Lyra caught his hand, her grip firm. Then I will stay with you, she said. I will guard you, Ethan, even if they come. You will not be alone. Her silver eyes glowed brighter. Her voice was steady, and for the first time since this nightmare began, he believed her. Ethan's eyes finally closed. The world around him faded. His chest rose and fell in slow rhythm. Lyra sat beside him, her glow forming a shield in the darkness. She watched carefully, waiting for any sign. The chamber was quiet for a long time, but then faintly from the far edges of the shadows, a whisper rose again, so soft it was almost impossible to hear. We are waiting, Ethan. Even your courage cannot keep you awake forever. Lyra tightened her grip on his hand, her glow flared brighter, and her voice whispered back into the darkness. Then let them come. He will not face you alone. The silence returned. The shadows watched, and Ethan drifted into the first true sleep he had known in days, uncertain if he would wake to peace or to the beginning of another war.